What is up, guys? Welcome back to the Content Esquina. In English, it's Content Corner. My name is Herb.
What's up, guys? My name is Lens. Esquina, really.
Yeah. So,
You
it's
learn
a bit of
something
a.
new every day.
All right. Today, we're gonna go back to simpler times. The year is 2019. Yes, I say simpler times because that's BC. That's before COVID. Simpler times.
Simpler times.
And we're gonna talk Motherless Brooklyn. A fantastic movie, in my opinion.
It was great. I loved it. Apparently, it didn't do so hot in the ratings and reviews, but we'll talk about that later.
I don't care what the critics say. Anyway.
Critics are usually wrong. Critics are either, either they're right or they're wrong, obviously, but like I feel like critics usually rate things lower than like what the audience would rate them because they're snooty. And then it's if they consider it really good, like fantastic, the audience is like, it wasn't bad. It's rare where like everybody is on the same page. Like, no, that was great. That was fucking genius.
I'd say it's kind of like for lack of like better, it's like Rotten Tomatoes. You got a critic score and critic rating, and you got a fan rating, and a lot of times the fans will rate higher on a movie that the critics rate low.
Yeah. For example, Motherless Brooklyn critic rating 63%, fan rating 80. It's solid. It's an 8 out of 10. I'd watch an 8 out of 10 any night.
Exactly, it's worth my time.
Exactly.
That being said, let's get into this. First off, I want to point out before we talk about what the movie is, I want to say this movie had 4 big names in it that I did not know were even in the movie. Well, I knew one of them. 2 of them, actually. I knew half of the 4 big names. The other 2 I did not know. I knew Edward Norton was in it, and I knew Bruce Willis was in it. I knew that for a fact. I did not know Alec Baldwin was in it, much less did I know that William Dafoe was in it.
Word. Also, what's his name? Bobby Cannavale. Yeah, he was
Yes.
in it. I was like, what are you doing here, man?
Bro, like, just random names. Just random big names thrown in there.
It was
And
decently star-studded cast.
And then also shout out again to Edward Norton because not only is he a star in the movie, he wrote the movie, which was based on a novel, and by Jonathan Lethem. Lethem. I'm probably mispronouncing that. But yeah, he wrote the script for the movie based on the novel, and he directed the film. So
yeah, it was actually a pretty like well done. Oh yeah, another like decently big name, Michael Kenneth Williams.
yes, that voice though.
Yeah,
It's that voice.
okay,
But
real good.
the movie.
Anyways,
The movie takes place in what is it, like the 50s?
the 50s.
It is the 50s. All right, cool. 1950s. I'm gonna say this right now. If you are not a fan of like old school 50s like detectives movies, you may not like this. You may
like
not.
premium noir.
Premium noir. And the story is of our main character, which is Edward Norton's character, Lionel Esrog, who is nicknamed Brooklyn by Bruce Willis's character, Frank Minna. And Lionel works for Frank. They are part of a PI group. And at one point, stuff
Private
goes wrong with a
investigators,
deal.
if you didn't know.
If you didn't know what PI stood for.
Yeah.
True. Private investigators. Going forward, there'll be mild spoilers. We're obviously not going to talk about the whole movie in terms of spoilers, but there are some mild spoilers for like the beginning. It is what, a 2.5 hour movie, right?
Uh, yeah, 2 hours and change.
Yeah, so it's a long movie. So good though. So Lionel, like I said, works for Frank. They're part of a PI group. Frank goes to meet with some people about some kind of deal. Things go south. Frank gets bodied, and now Lionel's trying to figure out who the group was that offed him. That's like the first 10 minutes of the movie.
Yeah. One thing,
Or-
like you got to know about 1950s New York City. Um, that I guess you would already like have picked up on. It's a different time. You know, things are still a little racy. A lot of like tension in New York. A lot of people vying for power. A lot of people um trying to call out injustice, but you know, it's not working out. Um, and I feel like the movie really portrayed how not powerless, but how futile the efforts of people are when like power is in like the hands of the few. It's it really gives you the feeling like damn, like like this shit is not gonna work out, huh?
yeah, yeah, it's not pretty in any sense of the word. That being said, something that I actually should have mentioned earlier about Edward Norton's character. Lionel has Tourette's. Now, that is actually I don't know about you, Lance, that is actually what initially attracted me to this movie. He
Yeah, that was a definitely a selling point. I was like, oh, this is new.
so a lot of times I personally am invested in any type of media that portrays Tourette syndrome because one of my family members does have Tourette syndrome. So, I know what it's like to live with someone who has this illness. You know, thank the heavens every day that my family member's case is not worse than it is. That it's actually a very mild case. So I consider him and myself very fortunate, and my whole family fortunate that I guess is very mild. I will say though, there is something that tracks between Lionel's character and my family member, but we'll get to that. So yeah, so being that I've lived with someone for a long time who has this condition, I'm someone who's very sensitive to the issue whenever like someone makes how do I put it? Doesn't take it seriously, I guess you could say. You know?
Makes light of it.
Yeah. So don't get me wrong. I have been guilty in the past before my family member developed this before we knew he had it. I'm guilty of like, internet, TV, laughing at the jokes of stuff. I am guilty. I'm not gonna say I'm not. Um Seeing that now having this experience, obviously I am of a different mentality. And I do regret having enjoyed, laughed at that at the time, but I didn't know. I know now. So all I can do is improve myself going forward, you know? And so knowing that Edward Norton is going to portray this character with this illness, this condition, I was very interested to see how well he would do it. And honestly, I think he did a fantastic job.
Yeah.
Specifically because does he have this condition? Yes. Is it a weakness for him? In some ways, yes. Is he a victim in the movie? No. He's not a victim. Like he's not the sympathy case in this movie. There are times you feel bad for him, I'm not gonna say no, but he's not like someone that, you know, you just automatically feel bad for every time of the day or that you think you have to be extra nice to. He's a person. Just a guy. and I appreciated that. I very much appreciated that. Um, so he has this condition, and he goes the rest of the movie trying to figure out who killed his boss and best friend, Frank. And oh, what a tangled web this weaves.
My goodness. So he begins his investigation. Um, just with like the few clues that he was left with, and like the parting words that Frank left him with, and it like leads into this conspiracy that like extends to like the highest levels of New York. And one thing I'll say is that like it was some damn good detective work. Like it was some really really good detective work that he did. Like picking up on like the smallest of clues, tracking down leads, staking out places, finding connections. I was like, yo, this guy's a beast.
Yeah, yeah. It was he was really smart because of his. I hate the phrase because it's not accurate, but photographic memory. It's not what it's called, but that's what I like through media. That's what I've come to know it as. I know what you're talking about. It's not the. Do you know the right term for it, Lens? Because I actually don't.
No, and apparently there are like different like versions of having like near perfect recall. Um, and like different ways that people like will recall that information, but I don't know the technical term.
Yeah. So he. That's what's crazy about another thing about how he portrays this character is that it's. I think they say he himself in like a monologue in the movie says it that while his his brain feels like a part of his brain kind of is messing up, which is his condition. It basically made the rest of his mind like extra sharp in a sense to compensate.
Mm.
And that is what coincided with my family member because they have this condition, sure, but yo, they went through college and got their bachelors with straight A's the whole ride.
Pretty fire. Like that's that's impressive
Yeah.
to say
So
the least.
so I'm just like, it made me interested to like. Now I wonder, should I ever meet someone who also has this condition? Will they have like an innate talent or whatever that maybe that kind of coincides with that, where because of this condition, some other part of their brain is like working overtime, and now they're amazing at one thing or another. You know,
Sure. I don't know if it works that way, but like
if it doesn't, it doesn't. You know,
it doesn't. It's fine.
so
But
it's but continue with the movie.
so he I forgot what connection he made between what he found um in like Frank's like pocket because he had his jacket. I think he found like
It was
a matchbook.
matchbook. Yep.
And he finds a matchbook. He starts like tracing Frank's steps, and like it leads him to this bar.
Yeah, it's like a not like upscale bar, but it's a nice bar. You know, it's not like not like a pub or anything like that. And it was written on the inside of the matchbook. So he goes to the
I
bar.
think well, it leads him to one bar, and then that bar leads him to another bar.
Yeah,
It's just a
yeah.
lot of steps. Like
It, it-
that's one thing I'll give like credit to the movie for. Like it's like there's a lot that goes into an investigation. There's a lot of steps, and they showed a lot of steps.
and I will say with the investigation, I don't know about you, Lens, but the whole time that we were watching this movie, I had no way of knowing what the big reveal was going to be.
Oh, absolutely not. And while I don't want to get like too much into exactly what
What it is.
happens and like who's involved, uh, because I would like for people to watch this movie. I think
The
it's
worst thing
really
you can
fun.
do when you tell someone about a detective slash mystery movie is tell them the solution to the mystery.
Yeah, exactly. So we're not going to talk about any of that. One thing I will say is that because of like the times and like everything that's going on in the movie, it involves some big names in like New York's history. Um, although this is a dramatization, so it's not exact like
It's not
replicas. Like they
like
don't use the actual names, but there's
yeah.
a dramatization of Robert Moses. And if you live in New York and you know like some of New York's history, he's a huge like deal here. He built a lot of uh, places like bridges, parks, neighborhoods. Like he kind of shaped his vision for New York City over his lifetime. Um, and I would say that the city honors him in a lot of ways because of it. His name's everywhere. You see it a lot of places. He's probably you go to a museum, like there's a museum of the city of New York. He's probably like all over there. But I think the movie kind of addresses, well, what does it take to be the guy that like kind of reshapes a city? How do you get that much like trust, or how do you get that many projects, and how do you accumulate that much power? So it kind of explores that point, and it does it well. It's enticing to see.
Very much so. And something that is that blew was blowing us away. There are two things I feel like besides the story that was blowing us away mid story are the music and the camera work.
So we'll start off with the camera work. The camera
Yeah.
work, it it just reminded me of like those old school like noir detective films. It was the same. It was perfect. From like overcasting shadows like that, like that's supposed to be menacing and like symbolic of a person that is in control of this certain area, um to the way that like the camera tracks people's I guess eye lines, and like the way that they like view things. So for example, if somebody is like staking out a block, right? Or they're like watching somebody walk down the block. The way that like the camera follows that person, but the person themselves kind of continues to move casually, as if to not draw attention. Um, it was well done. It really like puts you in that kind of like what would I like the detective mindset. And there was a lot of good cuts. Um,
Ye old
where
detective.
Yield Detective. A lot of good cuts where it was just interesting to see. Like I would say you have to see it for yourself to really appreciate um the what they did, but it was very reminiscent of like the era of film of that time, the 50s, 60s type of filmmaking.
And there were some like cuts or fade outs and fade ins that were just chef's kiss beautifully done.
Yeah, transitions. Oh my goodness.
Just oh. And then going with that, as we said before, the music. When it comes to the music, I just have one thing to say. You like jazz? that's I feel like that's the best way to describe it.
It was it was beautiful. Like there was one scene where I'm not gonna say who, but like it was some slow music. It was a romantic scene, and I was like, man, they don't make music like they used to. It was really nice. Um, also like a lot of the just background music of the soundtrack that you would just hear, just people walking or talking, the investigation type thing going on. I was just like, damn, I'm playing LA Noire all over again.
It's
It
just
was beautiful.
so good, so good. And then what else? Honestly, I want to say like the outfits, like the costume and makeup department, bro. Some of those outfits were fire, just straight fire.
I don't know about fire. It definitely was
For me, it was maybe because I'm old. That's probably why
because you're
I'm
old.
old.
It was definitely time accurate. One
Like
thing I gotta say, yo, how the hell did you like get all of these old things? You know, like, like I don't know. Like the prop department, good on them, because like they had multiple streets, just blocks and areas that just like transformed into old New York. The old subway cars, the street signs. Like if you
bro,
live in
the
New York
subway cars
now,
is what got me.
the
The
subway cars. I
subway
was just like,
cars.
where did you even where did you pull this like, fucking rust bucket from? Like, are you kidding me? If you live in New York now, the whole "Don't walk, walk" sign is just a hand and like a person walking. But back in the day, when they believed that people could read, it just said "walk" and "don't walk" in like actual like letters. All right, but
When
I
they thought
remember it
people
was
could read.
dog for real because like uh I forgot when they changed it, but it was when I was a kid. I think I was like 9 or 10, and then like they were slowly changing the "don't walk walk" signs to the hand in the walking person. I saw one and I was like, oh, that looks cool, but like then they started replacing them all. I was just like, what? Can people not read? I was like, this isn't gonna prevent any more accidents. Like, it's not gonna do anything. People in New York, we jaywalk. It doesn't fucking matter.
Yo, honestly, and then like I always made a joke. It's not that great, but I always made a joke once they move the hand. It's like with the hand and the man walking. It's like the hand. It's like a hand out, but what if I'm looking at it from the back? Then it looks like they're trying to tell me to come through. Like
Oh my god.
they're telling me to run these hands. Like, come on. I'm like, yo, now I gotta cross.
Oh, you're ridiculous.
Oh man, there's all that, and I feel like so when I mentioned some of the actors, I didn't I didn't realize it was William Dafoe until like I got a closer look because I saw someone talking. And I'm like, all right, cool, because it was from like the side when we first see him. But you guys, like you and Ellie, you were all like, yo, it's William Dafoe. I'm like, what? And then I had to take a second look, and I'm like, oh shit, it is William Dafoe.
Is that you, Norman?
Norman
What
Osborn,
are you doing here?
you're not supposed to be around for another 12 years. What's going
I
on?
mean, you're supposed to be a kid at this point. I mean, you're from New York. Like, it makes sense. Like, this all tracks. They were they in Queens at the time? No, they're in Brooklyn.
They were in Brooklyn.
I mean, like, it still tracks. It makes sense.
And then I remember they said something about Queens that you were like, yeah, that tracks. I forgot what they said about Queens in the movie, but you as being a resident of Queens said like, no, like that tracks or like that makes sense. I was like,
You're gonna have to remind me.
I don't remember. That's the problem.
God.
I was hoping you would. That's honestly my train of thought. I was like, please remember.
Sorry, buddy. It was a long movie. It was like 2.5 hours of like stuff going on, and it was all New York. So I was just like, "Yeah, I'm home."
This is where I live. Yes.
I will give it. I'll give it this. Um, they just, no matter like what era, New York just still always has a thing about it, and like the people always have like a sense of like we're not
Right.
gonna fucking take shit from people. Like New Yorkers, like whether it be 2020, 1950s, or the 1870s, like they are the same. New Yorkers will be fucking New Yorkers,
Hey
man.
Maria, come over here. Oh man, just this is it's true though. It's true. Like I gotta stop saying that. It it's just a New York thing. We honestly just have our own walk, our own stride, our own
Our own
pace.
mentality.
Don't just understand how to put it. We are also of the same mentality. I will say though, of like we see something going on, and we're just "Oh, that ain't my problem. That ain't my business."
It's not my business. It's not. Like you see some people fighting on the street. It's not my business. Like, keep walking. Like people doing some fucked up shit on the subway. All right, like whatever. It was, they gonna handle it. I mean,
Now, don't
don't get
get
me
me
wrong.
wrong.
If it's something like actually bad, like
Yeah, don't get me wrong.
super
There are
bad,
degrees. There are degrees.
yeah,
Like if
we will
someone
step in when necessary.
if someone's trying to murder someone else,
Yeah, like
then we'll probably try to help them. But if they're just yelling at each other back and forth, it's not my problem.
no problem.
No,
They're just having a conversation. It's just a loud conversation.
There's a loud conversation, and just trying to include this whole subway car at 3 a.m. while I'm hungover.
Is. Oh, like when that one character, the lady, she was on the subway and like there was a guy on the bongos. I'm like, "Yeah, that's always been a thing. Like, like people have always been
Showtime.
playing Showtime. Yo, people have always been playing music on the subways since the foundation of the goddamn subway.
It's just how we do. It's just how New York does. That's just it. People are always complaining, yo, these people with the Showtime people, I hate them. When like last time I went to New York, I almost got hit by someone with the Showtime. I'm like, this see, you're complaining. That's why I know you're not from New York. You're not made for this.
You're not made
You're
for
not.
this. They're trying to make a living. What, you gonna give them shit because they want to? You're trying to make a buck? Like what? You fucking kidding me? Get out of here, you snooty ass. Don't take the subway then. Take a taxi. Fuck you.
But the traffic. Well, then don't come here.
Don't complain. This is New York. Like you gotta fucking deal with it.
I
It is what it is.
I find it hilarious that you're a true New Yorker when you actively avoid Times Square.
Yeah, nobody wants to fucking go there.
Like
I
you
dare you to
won't.
find an actual New Yorker in Times Square. That's not working because like there are people that work there. Other than
Yeah.
that, like
If I work there, then I have to suffer. I've chosen this life to work here. I've chosen to suffer.
there are only like a number of people that you'll find in Times Square in terms of workers. Either they work at one of the restaurants or shops. Either they're trying to get you to see a comedy show. Uh,
or the pictures and the
or
costumes.
yeah, they like they take pictures with you because they're in a costume or you're the naked cowboy or whatever. And then like
Or the naked cowgirl.
or the naked cowgirl. And then you got like the one dude that's selling his like mixtape. That's it.
He's always there.
He's
He's
always there.
always there.
Always there. He's there right now. Right now. He's trying to sell his mixtape. He's like, check me out on SoundCloud.
Check me out on
It's
SoundCloud.
true.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong, and that's what makes it so much better. But there was also how to put it. Like you said, during that time with tensions between people in the movie, it is very well represented. It's not. There's no like, as far as I remember, there weren't like any like slurs or anything thrown around, but it was clear that some people would look down on others. It was clear,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know.
It was also clear that a lot of the projects to like redo New York City or like build things, a lot of them disregarded minorities. You know, they didn't really care if like people were getting kicked out of their homes. They didn't really care if they couldn't keep up with like the rent or any of that. You know, they were forcibly moving people out of their homes um, through pretty illegal manners.
Yeah.
And it's like pretty fucked up. Like the history of New York it's a dark one. Um, but
It
like
ain't always pretty.
there's always going to be the conversation of like, I mean, the stuff that was done like led to what we have today, and sure, but like it's wrong now and it was wrong then, you know?
Mm.
Like what at what cost do we have what we have now? And it makes you think. Specifically for us that live here, like you see like the bridges that like you drive over, you know, and you see the projects that they're talking about. You see like the result of history that's being told in this movie. And sometimes, hey, you enjoy the parks and you enjoy the bridges and you enjoy like the ability to do X, Y, and Z. But like when you see what it took to get there, it gives you a perspective of like our history, and I think it's an important one to tell, which is like a strong point for this movie. Like it for people that's from New York, it strikes a pretty good tone. Um,
Yeah.
to like remember.
You know, I, man, the acting on everyone's part from every character, major and minor, I think was phenomenal.
It was A1. It was
Um,
absolutely great.
it,
Edward Norton knocked it out of the park. We always knew Edward Norton's a good actor, but like,
oh
hey,
yeah,
like it was another just fantastic.
I still think he should have been the Incredible Hulk, but that's me. That's another That's another video. That's
That's
another
a
video.
whole nother topic. Like, there's strong arguments for and against.
Yes, but that's a whole other video. It's a whole other video. Um,
Alec Baldwin's acting was like really, really good. He's
yeah,
great, but like that was fantastic. Willem Dafoe knocking it out of the park as usual
because it's William Dafoe.
is.
I
Um,
mean,
Bruce Willis, I think given more time, he would have done an excellent job. I mean, for the amount of time that he was on screen, he did a great job. But his time on screen was limited, so there's not much to
no,
say about that. You know what I mean?
yeah. So as stated before, in like the first 10 minutes, he dies. it it it
Yeah.
honestly kind of I remember watching the trailer for this movie, and I remember seeing like Edward Norton, Bruce Willis in a movie together. I was hyped. But then now watching it, it reminded me of how when they announced the first Godzilla movie, and they're saying what's his name? Was it Bryan Cranston?
Bryan Cranston.
Yeah, his face was all over the advertisements, the trailers, and the posters. You watch the movie, first 30 minutes of the movie, he's dead.
Gone. Gone immediately.
Bro,
It's so
I
messed up.
that's why half the time I don't know anymore. Is when they show actors in trailers, is he or she gonna be there the whole movie? Or are they gonna die in the first 15, 20 minutes?
Like, can I trust this? Can I trust these trailers? Am I gonna see this man struggle, or is it just gonna be, oh nope, he's gone? Like, sorry, we already got your money, bitch.
I will say it was funny that we watched that recently because about I think like very recently, like a week or two before sat down and watched Motherless Brooklyn, I had literally just watched Die Hard again, another Bruce Willis film. So that was probably the most Bruce Willis films I've seen in like sequence, like within a short that amount of time. My Bruce Willis films are usually spread out. I actually completely forgot that he was in the movie to begin with.
Really?
I was because the movie came out last year, and I remember you and me talking about it. We're seeing that movie. We're seeing that
Oh yeah,
movie.
I wanted to see it from like ever since the first trailer.
Didn't we see the first? Didn't we when we see the first saw trailer? Weren't we in the theater watching some other movie, and then that trailer came up as one of the coming attractions?
Probably.
Huh?
Probably. Like, it's probably how it happened. And we
I
were like,
feel
absolutely, yes.
so. Time came and went, and I just didn't have the time or the money, so I was
Mm,
holding Lens back. Uh,
word. And I was just like, I want to see this movie, but I don't want to see it without Herbert. Like, that'd be messed up. We promised.
exactly. So I do regret and I do apologize, Lens, that we didn't get a chance to see it in theaters because seeing it now, oh my god, I regret not seeing it in theaters.
It would have been a great experience.
Would have been.
But either way, like, hey, I'm glad I saw it.
Oh
If
yeah,
y'all want to see it, you can catch it on HBO Max. If you don't
shameless
have
plug.
HBO Max, what? I mean, I'm getting paid by HBO Max, but I got it. Whatever. Like, if you don't have HBO Max, I mean, like, too bad.
If there
You're
aren't,
missing out. There's a lot of good stuff there.
listen, if you don't have HBO Max, there's plenty of movies out there across the seven seas. Um, so I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying there's plenty of movies out there.
What's out there? You can watch stuff.
But if you do have HBO Max, or you know someone whose account you can borrow, I heavily recommend watching this movie.
Honestly.
Hands down. Hands down.
A little off topic, but like I've been checking out HBO Max stuff. And I just figured, you know what, like, hey, like they're doing the streaming service. They got like Warner Brothers, HBO usually puts out some good content. It's it's not bad. Like, give them some time to build up their library a little bit, but like for what they have right now, it's not bad.
I mean,
It's
we went
pretty
through
good.
it I remember that one night, and they had some good stuff on there.
Oh yeah, they got some classics. They have some new stuff.
31 seasons of Looney Tunes.
Not all of them are complete, but like a lot of Looney Tunes.
If you just want to sit down and watch Looney Tunes for days, and I do mean days, HBO Max got you.
They got you covered. They have the series from the guy who made Regular Show.
Close enough.
Yes,
Yes, close enough.
hilarious,
Fantastic show as
hilarious.
well.
Oh my goodness.
If you liked regular show, you're gonna love Close Enough.
Honestly, it's it. I was shocked at how much I was laughing.
Yo, Lens, you want a
Oh,
post? I'll show you a post.
oh my god! I think that was the most clever joke I've heard all year. Oh my goodness. I didn't see it like coming. Like, what? Oh wow. Like,
There were layers. There
I
were
can't
layers.
I can't like explain this joke. You just have to see it for yourself. But yeah,
I,
watch that show if you can.
this is great. This is great. Um, I
Uh,
feel that's about all I can say about the movie without revealing anymore.
yeah, like it's hard for me to like go on and on about the movie without like getting into details because it's the details that really make you appreciate it. Um, yeah,
That's
you just
yeah.
gotta
Just
you just gotta
please
watch it.
watch the movie.
It's a really good movie night one. I would recommend it if you are like I don't know if it fits a certain type of mood, but if you're not doing anything, if you're just like free and so like I don't know what to watch, Motherless Brooklyn. It'll take up 2.5 hours. It's pretty good. So
Solid. I recommend if you want like Parsec, so you can watch it together. If you are social distancing, Parsec to watch it together. Because HBO doesn't have its own streaming service, like its own stream share service yet, right?
no, I mean not many people do.
Yeah, so I didn't think so. So yeah, so Parsec, if you want to social distance, if you're comfortable with having people over and getting together, still great movie. And yeah, that's about all I can say about that. So to wrap things up, as usual, everybody, thank you for watching and listening to us rant. We greatly appreciate you guys. You can follow me at on Instagram and Twitter at Simon68 underscore TKE. Lens, where can they follow you?
Like if you on Instagram and Twitter at LensJ, LEHNSJ. We also, you can also follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube
Yes,
with the
that's right.
Content Corner.
That's right. We're uploading all past episodes. I'm in the process of uploading all past episodes to our YouTube channel, which will be soon fully stocked and up to date. So if there's anything that you wanted to hear from us again, or or you missed, and you want to try to find it, it will be there. Instagram and Twitter are the same handle. It's the underscore content corner, all one word, all lowercase. You can find us there. YouTube and Facebook, the content corner. Look for us there, as like Len said, look for us there as well. Also, if you want to reach out to us besides any of those avenues you sit and you want to recommend a topic for us to talk about, something that you want to hear our opinion on, or if you want us to, rate something, or just, you know, anything, you can email us at contentcornermail@gmail.com. So, plenty of ways to get to us. Feel free to let us know if there's something you want to hear us talk about or rant about. Or if you want to recommend a game for us to play together for our weekly streams Friday nights at 7 p.m. on twitch.tv/content_corner. You can recommend that too, and we'll check it out. And that's a
You
weekly
should
stream.
also check out Herbert's Tuesday streams. Tuesday Ghost of Tsushima streams on Twitch. Same channel. So yeah, we got content coming at you at least three times a week.
Yeah, and that I will heads up for the Ghost of Tsushima stream that it is in Kurosawa mode, so it isn't in black and white for the artistic, integrity. And excuse me, it is on the later time bracket as I am in my last semester of college, so it is at 10 p.m. as opposed to 7 on Tuesday night. So that's 10 p.m. Eastern. All these times are on Eastern Standard Time. Can't forget that part. So,
All
once
right,
again,
yeah.
thank you all, and we will catch you on the flip side.